Hi, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another episode of Cake Calendar, your monthly show that not only celebrates the Swedish cake calendar, but we also teach you how to bake them. My name is Thomas Bragg-Nelson and I am an amateur cake eater.
And my name is Nicoletta and I'm a professional pastry chef.
So February is kind of a light month when you look at the Swedish cake calendar. We've already had Carrot Cake Day on the 3rd of February.
Yeah.
But there's only really one cake we talk about in February, isn't there? There's only one cake that matters.
Yeah, and that's going to be the classic Semla. That's pretty much the only cake people in Sweden will eat during the month of February.
So for people maybe outside of Sweden that don't know what a Semlor is, take us through the highlights.
Well, it's going to be a sweet dough bun with cardamom, which we then are going to fill with an almond paste. And on top of that, we are going to have a very light and fluffy whipped cream.
So Nicoletta mentioned that we're going to be baking the classic Semla today, but it's worth mentioning there are a lot of variations out there and it's become somewhat of like a bakery tradition to come with as many different variations of the Semla as possible. In fact, when I was coming into Baldersbrød this morning, I just took a quick look at the menu and this is what you can currently buy. A classic Semla, a mini Semla, a luxury Semla, a Wiener Semla, a Rocky Road Semla, a vanilla cream Semla, a gluten-free Semla, a lactose-free Semla, a family-size Semla, and on top of all that, there is a weekly special Semla every week.
Yep, that's true. And some of our weekly Semlors are salted caramel, chocolate Semla, Nutella Semla, blueberry Semlor, raspberry Semlor, and we are constantly working in creating new Semlor.
I recently tried the salted caramel Semla and delicious.
Right?
Yeah.
I love it. It's really, really good.
Okay, enough talking, let's get baking. Just before we start though, I want to tell you that I've actually put timestamps in the description below. So if you're baking along at home and you want to skip to different stages of the bake process, you can do that using the timestamps in the description below. We've also added the complete list of ingredients that you're going to need to make this bake in the description below. So make sure you take a look at that, make sure you've got everything at home before you start baking. And if you are baking along at home, please take a picture of your Semla when it's finished, put it on Instagram and tag us using the hashtag #CakeCalendar. So, where do we get started?
Well, we can start with the pre-dough, and for that we are going to need 240 grams of flour, 200 grams of milk that has been warmed to about 35-37 degrees, and 25 grams of yeast. The first step you need to do is to dissolve the yeast into the warm milk. So, Thomas, I think you can do this while I pour the flour into the machine.
My first baking task.
You're gonna be my helper.
I don't know how much help I'll be, but I'll certainly try. Now, for people watching at home, if they don't have one of these wonderful mixing machines,
you can definitely do it by hand. It's gonna take a little bit more time and some effort, but the good part is you can then eat 2 or 3 Semlas because you worked hard. If you do it by hand, it's just like a gym workout.
Okay, does this look about ready?
Yep, that looks great.
There you go.
So what we do now is to add the milk with the yeast to the flour and then just start the machine until we get a nice even mix. So now we are done with the pre-dough and we are going to let it rest for about 15 to 30 minutes.
And can I ask, why do you make a pre-dough and not just put it in the oven?
Well, the reason we do a pre-dough is because it will help both with the texture, the softness of the bun. It will also be moister and it will help it rise and be really nice, light and fluffy.
Great, so we need to put that somewhere nice to rest for 15 minutes.
Yeah. We're just going to cover it with some plastic and just let it rest for about 15 to 30 minutes.
Yeah. So we've got 15 minutes to wait. I'm going to hit you and you with some Semla facts whilst we wait. So,
nice. Let's hear.
Semla fact number 1. So, Semla are eaten on Shrove Tuesday, which is also known as Fat Tuesday in most parts of the world. This is the day where people eat something fattening before the 40-day pre-Easter fasting.
Yes.
So actually in Sweden, it was forbidden for a long time to bake Semla before this day, before Fat Tuesday. But in 1953, those cheeky chappies down in Malmö decided to break the rules and start to bake Semla already in the first week of January. And they kind of broke the taboo, and still to this day, those bakeries and other bakeries start baking Semla already in January.
So the dough is ready, but if you want a bun that's really soft, moist, and extremely tasty, what I would recommend is that you do the pre-dough the day before, and you just keep it in the fridge and let it rise, and that would enhance the taste of the bun. So this is how the pre-dough looks when it's ready, and look at these amazing bubbles that the dough has created. This is where all the taste comes from.
Okay, what do we do next?
Well, now we are going to finish our dough, and for that we are going to need 180 grams of flour that I have pre-mixed with half a teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of cardamom. We are also going to need 1 egg, 100 grams sugar, and 100 grams of butter that's room temperature. So you see it's really soft.
So that you're putting in the
We're
cardamom.
going to add the flour and the cardamom. We're going to add our egg, and we're going to add our sugar and the room temperature butter. It can all go in at once, and we're ready to crumble. So I think our dough is just about done, but just to make sure, we're going to take a piece of dough and we're going to see if it built enough gluten. And the way you see that is by pulling on the dough. If you can make a really thin sheet of dough without breaking it, then you have quite a nice gluten strand. So what we're going to do now is put a plastic sheet on top of it and let it proof.
More proofing.
Yes, more proofing. This is the second proofing. And once this is done, we're going to create the buns and let them proof as well.
Aha, triple proof.
Triple proof,
Triple proof Semla. Okay, whilst that's proofing, I thought I'd hit you with another Semla fact. Semla fact number 2 of the day. Are you ready?
Okay, let's hear it.
So, Semla first came to the Nordic countries in the 1500s, and since then it has spread around the Nordic countries in some surprising ways. So did you know, for example, in Finland they eat Semla with raspberry jam instead of the mandel paste, the almond paste. And in Norway and Denmark it can be filled with jam, vanilla cream, or even chocolate. And even within Sweden there are some variations of how people enjoy it. So for example, in northern Sweden, people quite often take the Semla and put it in a bowl of hot milk. Hetvägg, I think it's called.
Yes.
And this one was new to me. In Gothenburg, they actually usually mix in some chopped almonds into the almond paste. And instead of icing sugar on the top, they have this pearl sugar that you'd normally have on cinnamon buns.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the pearl sugar, so I would have to say I prefer the powdered sugar. But usually when I do my almond paste, I really like to have some coarse bits of almond in it, just for the extra crunch.
So that was Semla fact number 2. How long do we need to wait? How long is proof number 2 on the Semla?
Well, it all depends of the room temperature, but if you want to do it quicker and you don't really have time to wait, what you can do is to get a pot with boiling water You put that in your oven and then you put the dough in the oven as well and close the door. And just let it there. The boiling water will give it warmth and humidity, and it will help the dough rise a lot faster.
So about 15 minutes.
About 15-20 minutes, I would say so.
All right, see you in 15. 15 minutes of proofing, and we have a double-proofed semla dough.
Yeah, so now the dough is ready, and what we're going to do is cut it into 16 small portions. First, we need to work it a little bit on a lightly floured surface. So what I always like to do is to weigh everything. So I never do it just by eye measurement, but if you want to do it by eye measurement, that's fine. So from this recipe, if you want to get 16 small buns, you will have to weigh them into around 55 grams clumps.
We're making slightly smaller semla today, but there's no difference in the dough if we wanted to make some larger semla.
No, there's absolutely no difference. The only difference is going to be the quantity of the clump you're gonna cut from this one. When I bake for myself at home, I usually like to bake the small mini Semlor, because then I can go without a guilty conscience and grab one every time I pass the fridge.
So in like a working bakery like this, how many semla a week would you make during the peak period?
Oh, we're making about 1,000 Semlor a day.
1,000 semla a day?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how many semlas that is.
Let's not talk about Fat Tuesday. I think our record for Fat Tuesday, it's about 18,000 Semlor on Fat Tuesday.
That shocks me, I have to say. 18,000 semla. But if you just think about how many semla are made across the country.
I think it's about 5-6 million Semlor made.
We're going to check the figure, and it's going to be on screen here by the time you watch the video. So Nicoletta's actually been working in the bakery this morning before we started filming. So we're doing 16 semla today. So today you've made 1,016 semla.
About.
Like 16 semla seems like a lot of semla for me to make. It's certainly a lot to eat. But 1,000, whew. Look at that cardamom there, it's delicious. And I think one thing that I really love about semla is that, you know, growing up in the UK, cardamom really feels like something I would use like for Indian cooking. It's something very earthy that I associate with curries. But like in Sweden, cardamom is very much something that you have with sweet food.
Yeah, we use it in a lot of sweet doughs. And it's precisely because of the earthiness tone that it brings in combination with sugar. It creates a really nice complement.
Okay, so what do we do now?
Thomas, I actually need you to go and bring me a tray.
I can do that.
So what we're going to do now is roll the dough to quite a tense bun, and that's gonna help it when it proofs, and it's going to give it the really, really nice round shape.
So once we're finished with these 16, what's next?
Well, we're going to let them proof again.
A third proof?
A third proof. And while they're proofing, we can start actually doing our almond filling.
And if you're lucky, I might just have a third and final Semla fact for you. So look forward to that. Okay, 16 buns ready for proof number 3.
So once you have them on a tray, what I would recommend is to take a plastic sheet on top of them, just so they don't dry on the surface.
Yeah, let's do that. Right, whilst proof number 3 is happening for the Semla buns, I'm going to hit you with my third and final Semla fact. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So originally the Semla was baked as an ordinary bread without any spices. Eventually people started sweetening the bread with honey and digging out some of the bread's insides to mix with cream.
Yes.
It wasn't until the 1700s that people started to use the almond paste in the Semla as well, which, in my opinion, is the best part of the Semla.
It is.
So we're done with the final proof, and we get to see what the buns look like now.
So the buns have almost doubled in size.
They look fantastic. That cardamom is really popping out now.
Yeah, they look really, really good. But before this can go into the oven, we want to use a lightly beaten egg just to give them a little bit of a shine. And now they are ready for the oven. They are going to go in the oven at 210 degrees Celsius for about 10 to 15 minutes. So I'm just gonna
I'll come open the oven.
Well, now we're going to prepare the almond paste.
Okay.
And I have here 300 grams of almond paste. The most important thing you need to think about is to buy a high quality almond paste. So you need to look at the ingredients and buy the one that has almonds and sugar. There are some cheaper options that also have apricot seeds in it, but if you ask me, that takes away from the taste of the cream you want to have in a semla. So we have here a 50-50 almond paste. That means it's 50% almonds and 50% sugar.
Okay.
So to do the cream we want to have in the semla, we just put the almond paste into the blender. So we start mixing the almond paste and slowly add milk to it. For 300 grams of almond paste, I think you're gonna need about 150 grams milk. So you know how I was saying that I love to have some crunch in my almond cream? Well, what I normally do when I bake at home is that I buy these almond flakes and I just toast them in the oven. And once the mix is done and it seems soft and easily pipeable, then the last thing I will do is I'll add some almond flakes and just give it 1 or 2 spins, not more than that, because I don't want to break them off. So now our almond cream is ready. We're going to fill the piping bag with our awesome almond cream, and this is ready to be piped on our Semlor.
I can hold that for you if you want to go and get the buns.
Yes.
Ooh, here they are.
Yes, here they are.
So these have been left to cool a little bit before we...
Oh, these have been left to cool completely.
Okay.
So you need to make sure that the bun is completely cold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the classic triangle. If you want to cut the triangle, you will always use scissors. But if you want to use a knife and just cut it straight like a sandwich, you can do that as well.
Okay, now it's piping time, and I'm not a very capable baker whatsoever, but this I think I might be able to give a try at least.
I have full confidence in you. I think you're gonna do great. So let's give it a go. I'm gonna cut the tip here for you. So the way I keep the piping bag is with my right hand kind of in the middle so I can get a good grip, and the left hand on top just so that the paste doesn't go up, and you just fill until the entire triangle is filled. So here you go, Thomas, give it a shot.
Okay.
I think you can take care of this all by yourself and I can go and get the whipped cream ready.
Yeah, sounds good. So, filled with the paste.
And now it's time for the whipped cream.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the whipped cream, you want soft picked. So you want a very light, fluffy whipped cream. The one I used is just regular 36% fat whipped cream that you can find in the supermarket. And you do not want to whip it until it's really, really hard. For a semla, it has to be light and airy.
Yeah. So
I'm going to do 1 or 2, and then thinking you want to give it a try?
Absolutely.
So you start in the middle and you just go around. You want the cream to be soft and airy. You get a really, really nice finish. Your turn. Keep a constant pressure. So the pressure you have in the beginning has to be constant all the way till the end. And you don't have to be afraid of pushing on it. Just push and see how the shape of the flower, how the shape of the rose will change.
All right, it looks like we're almost there. What comes next?
The last step is to put the hat back on.
This bit I think I can manage.
So I'm gonna let you do this while I go and take care of some dishes.
Yeah. Now, I can't promise that this hat was with this Semla, but I'll try. Okay, they have their hats. What do you think?
Wonderful, Thomas. They look amazing. And you know what? I came with the last step, the powdered sugar.
These look fantastic.
They do.
And honestly, I mean, you did the whole process, but it was a lot simpler than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a much more complex bake, but my biggest reflection is that it's all in the proofing. Triple proof to get that soft, moist, fluffy bread.
Yeah, that's what you want. You want a really, really, really soft bun that just falls apart. And then you want a really nice, creamy almond cream and a very, very, very fluffy whipped cream.
That's good.
Wanna try it?
I would never say no to a Semla. Really good. I could not get tired of eating this. And the little bit of crunch from the almonds really makes a difference.
It does, doesn't it? And doesn't it taste better when you've done it yourself from beginning to end? It's almost like the work you put in adds a hidden layer of taste.
Absolutely. So there's not much more left to say other than thank you to Nicoletta for sharing your expert knowledge on how to make this delicious February treat.
It was my pleasure, and thank you everybody that's watching and baking this at home with me.
Yeah, and also a massive thanks to Badler's Bröd for letting us use this space today and to create these delicious contraptions. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit a like down below. If you've loved the video, then smash that subscribe button. We're going to be back next month with something from the March cake calendar. There's a few different options where we could go next month. We haven't quite decided. So make sure you're following us on Instagram and you can help us decide what to bake next month in the March cake calendar. Yeah? Thanks for watching.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
next month.
Bye.
Bye.